Hadith 1. Narrated Aisha, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq had never broken his oaths till Allah revealed the expiation for the oaths. Then he said, if I take an oath to do something, and later on I find something else better than the first one, then I do what is better and make expiation for my oath. Hadith 2. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Samurah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Abdur Rahman bin Samurah, do not seek to be a ruler, because if you are given authority for it, then you will be held responsible for it, but if you are given it without asking for it, then you will be helped in it, by Allah. And whenever you take an oath to do something, and later you find that something else is better than the first, then do the better one and make expiation for your oath. Hadith 3. Narrated Abu Musa, I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, along with a group of al-Ash'ariyin in order to request him to provide us with mounts. He said, by Allah, I will not provide you with mounts and I haven't got anything to mount you on. Then we stayed there as long as Allah wished us to stay, and then 3 very nice-looking she-camels were brought to him and he made us ride them. When we left, we, or some of us, said, by Allah, we will not be blessed, as we came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asking him for mounts, and he swore that he would not give us any mounts, but then he did give us. So let us go back to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and remind him of his oath. When we returned to him, and reminded him of the fact, he said, I did not give you mounts, but it is Allah who gave you. By Allah, Allah willing, if I ever take an oath to do something and then I find something else better than the first, I will make expiation for my oath and do the thing which is better, or do something which is better and give the expiation for my oath. Hadith 4. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, we, Muslims, are the last in the world, but will be foremost on the day of resurrection. Hadith 5. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, by Allah, if any one of you insists on fulfilling an oath by which he may harm his family, he commits a greater sin in Allah's sight than that of dissolving his oath and making expiation for it. Hadith 6. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, anyone who takes an oath through which his family may be harmed, and insists on keeping it, he surely commits a sin greater than that of dissolving his oath. He should rather compensate for that oath by making expiation. Hadith 7. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent an army detachment and made Usama bin Zayd its commander. Some people criticized, spoke badly of Usama's leadership. So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, got up saying, if you people are criticizing Usama's leadership, you have already criticized the leadership of his father before. But Waimullah, that is, by Allah, he, that is, Zayd, deserved the leadership, and he was one of the most beloved persons to me, and now this, his son Usama, is one of the dearest persons to me after him. Hadith 8. Narrated Ibn Umar, the oath of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to be, no, by him who turns the hearts. Hadith 9. Narrated Jabir bin Samurah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if Caesar is ruined, there will be no Caesar after him, and if Khosrau is ruined, there will be no Khosrau after him, and by him in whose hand my soul is, surely you will spend their treasures in Allah's cause. Hadith 10. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if Khosrau is ruined, there will be no Khosrau after him, and if Caesar is ruined, there will be no Caesar after him. By him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is, surely you will spend their treasures in Allah's cause. Hadith 11. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O followers of Muhammad, by Allah, if you knew what I know, you would weep much and laugh little. Hadith 12. Narrated Abdullāh bin Hisham, we were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he was holding the hand of Umar bin al-Khattab. Umar said to him, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. You are dearer to me than everything except my own self. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, No, by him in whose hand my soul is, you will not have complete faith, till I am dearer to you than your own self. Then Umar said to him, However, now, by Allah, you are dearer to me than my own self. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Now, O Umar, now you are a believer. Hadith 13. Narrated Abu Hurairah and Zayd bin Khalid, two men had a dispute in the presence of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. One of them said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Judge between us according to Allah's laws. The other, who was wiser, said, Yes, O Allah's Apostle. Judge between us according to Allah's laws and allow me to speak. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Speak. He said, My son was a laborer serving this person, and he committed illegal sexual intercourse with his wife. The people said that my son is to be stoned to death, but I ransomed him with 100 sheep and a slave girl. Then I asked the learned people, who informed me that my son should receive 100 lashes and will be exiled for 1 year, and stoning will be the lot for the man's wife. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Indeed, by him in whose hand my soul is, I will judge between you according to Allah's laws. As for your sheep and slave girl, they are to be returned to you. Then he scourged his son 100 lashes and exiled him for 1 year. Then Unais al-Aslami was ordered to go to the wife of the second man, and if she confessed the crime, then stone her to death. She did confess, so he stoned her to death. Hadith 14. Narrated Abu Bakr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Do you think if the tribes of Aslam, Ghifar, Muzayna and Juhayna are better than the tribes of Tamim, Amr bin Sa'sa, Ghatafan and Asad, they, the second group, are despairing and losing? They, the Prophet's companions, said, Yes, they are. He said, By him in whose hand my soul is, they, the first group, are better than them, the second group. Hadith 15. Narrated Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, employed an employee, to collect zakat. The employee returned after completing his job and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. This amount of zakat is for you, and this other amount was given to me as a present. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, Why didn't you stay at your father's or mother's house and see if you would be given presents or not? Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, got up in the evening after the prayer, and having testified that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and praised and glorified Allah as he deserved, he said, Now then. What about an employee whom we employ and then he comes and says, This amount of zakat is for you, and this amount was given to me as a present? Why didn't he stay at the house of his father and mother to see if he would be given presents or not? By him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is, none of you will steal anything of it, that is, zakat, but will bring it by carrying it over his neck on the day of resurrection. If it has been a camel, he will bring it over his neck, while it will be grunting, and if it has been a cow, he will bring it over his neck, while it will be mooing, and if it has been a sheep, he will bring it over his neck, while it will be bleeding. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, I have preached you Allah's message. Abu Humayd said, Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, raised his hand so high that we saw the whiteness of his armpits. Hadith 16. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Abul Qasim, the Prophet, said, By him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is, if you knew that which I know, you would weep much and laugh little. Hadith 17. Narrated Abu Dar, I reached him, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while in the shade of the Kaaba, he was saying, They are the losers, by the Lord of the Kaaba. They are the losers, by the Lord of the Kaaba. I said to myself, what is wrong with me? Is anything improper detected in me? What is wrong with me? Then I sat beside him and he kept on saying his statement. I could not remain quiet, and Allah knows in what sorrowful state I was at that time. So I said, who are they, the losers? Let my father and mother be sacrificed for you, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, they are the wealthy people, except the one who does like this and like this and like this, that is, spends of his wealth in Allah's cause. Hadith 18. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the Prophet, Solomon once said, tonight I will sleep with 90 women, each of whom will bring forth a would-be cavalier who will fight in Allah's cause. On this, his companion said to him, say, Allah willing. But he did not say Allah willing. Solomon then slept with all the women, but none of them became pregnant but one woman who later delivered a half-man. By him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is, if he, Solomon, had said, Allah willing, all his wives would have brought forth boys, and they would have fought in Allah's cause as cavaliers. Hadith 19. Narrated Al-Barā bin Azib, a piece of silken cloth was given to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, as a present, and the people handed it over amongst themselves and were astonished at its beauty and softness. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, are you astonished at it? They said, yes, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, by him in whose hand my soul is, the handkerchiefs of Sa'd in paradise are better than it. Hadith 20. Narrated Aisha, Hind bint Utbah bin Rabi'ah said, O Allah's Apostle, before I embraced Islam, there was no family on the surface of the earth I wished to have degraded more than I did your family. But today there is no family whom I wish to have honored more than I do yours. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I thought similarly, by him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is. Hind said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. My husband, Abu Sufyan, is a miser. Is it sinful of me to feed my children from his property? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no, unless you take it for your needs what is just and reasonable. Hadith 21. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, while Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was sitting, reclining his back against a Yemenite leather tent, he said to his companions, will you be pleased to be 1/4 of the people of paradise? They said, yes. He said, won't you be pleased to be 1/3 of the people of paradise? They said, yes. He said, by him in whose hand Muhammad's soul is, I hope that you will be 1/2 of the people of paradise. Hadith 22. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, a man heard another man reciting, Surah al-Ikhlas, the Unity, say, He is Allah, the One, and he was repeating it. The next morning he came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and mentioned the whole story to him as if he regarded the recitation of that surah as insufficient. On that, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, by him in whose hand my soul is. That, Surah 112, equals 1/3 of the Quran. Hadith 23. Narrated Anas bin Malik, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, perform the bowing and the prostration properly, with peace of mind, for by him in whose hand my soul is, I see you from behind my back when you bow and when you prostrate. Hadith 24. Narrated Anas bin Malik, an Ansari woman came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the company of her children, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to her, by him in whose hand my soul is, you are the most beloved people to me. And he repeated the statement thrice. Hadith 25. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, met Umar bin al-Khattab while the latter was going with a group of camel riders, and he was swearing by his father. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Lo! Allah forbids you to swear by your fathers, so whoever has to take an oath, he should swear by Allah or keep quiet. Hadith 26. Narrated Ibn Umar, I heard Umar saying, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, Allah forbids you to swear by your fathers. Umar said, By Allah. Since I heard that from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, I have not taken such an oath, neither intentionally, nor by reporting the oath of someone else. Hadith 27. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Do not swear by your fathers. Hadith 28. Narrated Zahdam, there was a relation of love and brotherhood between this tribe of Jarm and al-Ash'ariyin. Once we were with Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, and then a meal containing chicken was brought to Abu Musa, and there was present a man from the tribe of Waimullah who was of red complexion as if he were from non-Arab freed slaves. Abu Musa invited him to the meal. He said, I have seen chickens eating dirty things, so I deemed it filthy and took an oath that I would never eat chicken. On that, Abu Musa said, Get up, I will narrate to you about that. Once a group of the Ash'ariyin and I went to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked him to provide us with mounts. He said, By Allah, I will never give you any mounts nor do I have anything to mount you on. Then a few camels of war booty were brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and he asked about us, saying, Where are the Ash'ariyin? He then ordered 5 nice camels to be given to us, and when we had departed, we said, What have we done? Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had taken the oath not to give us any mounts, and that he had nothing to mount us on, and later he gave us that we might ride? Did we take advantage of the fact that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had forgotten his oath? By Allah, we will never succeed. So we went back to him and said to him, We came to you to give us mounts, and you took an oath that you would not give us any mounts and that you had nothing to mount us on. On that, he said, I did not provide you with mounts, but Allah did. By Allah, if I take an oath to do something, and then find something else better than it, I do that which is better and make expiation for the dissolution of the oath. Hadith 29. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Whoever swears saying in his oath, By Al-Lat and Al Uzza, should say, None has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and whoever says to his friend, Come, let me gamble with you, should give something in charity. Hadith 30. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had a gold ring made for himself, and he used to wear it with the stone towards the inner part of his hand. Consequently, the people had similar rings made for themselves. Afterwards the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sat on the pulpit and took it off, saying, I used to wear this ring and keep it stone towards the palm of my hand. He then threw it away and said, By Allah, I will never wear it. Therefore all the people threw away their rings as well. Hadith 31. Narrated Thabit bin ad-Dahhak, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Whoever swears by a religion other than Islam is as he says, and whoever commits suicide with something will be punished with the same thing in the hell fire, and cursing a believer is like murdering him, and whoever accuses a believer of disbelief, then it is as if he had killed him. Hadith 32. Narrated Abu Hurairah that he heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, Allah decided to test 3 people from Bani Israel. So, he sent an angel who came first to the leper and said, I am a traveler, who has run short of all means of living, and I have nobody to help me except Allah, and then with your help. Abu Hurairah then mentioned the complete narration. Hadith 33. Narrated Al-Barā, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered us to help others to fulfill the oaths. Hadith 34. Narrated Usama, once a daughter of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent a message to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while Usama, Sa'd, and my father, or Ubay, were sitting there with him. She said, in the message, my child is going to die, please come to us. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, returned the messenger and told him to convey his greetings to her, and say, whatever Allah takes is for him, and whatever he gives is for him, and everything with him has a limited fixed term, in this world, so she should be patient and hope for Allah's reward. Then she again sent for him swearing that he should come, so the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, got up, and so did we. When he sat there, at the house of his daughter, the child was brought to him, and he took him into his lap while the child's breath was disturbed in his chest. The eyes of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, started shedding tears. Sa'd said, what is this, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, this is the mercy which Allah has lodged in the hearts of whoever he wants of his slaves, and verily Allah is merciful only to those of his slaves who are merciful to others. Hadīth 35. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, any Muslim who has lost 3 of his children will not be touched by the fire except that which will render Allah's oath fulfilled. Hadīth 36. Narrated Harithah bin Wahab, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, shall I tell you of the people of paradise? They comprise every poor humble person, and if he swears by Allah to do something, Allah will fulfill it, while the people of the fire comprise every violent, cruel, arrogant person. Hadīth 37. Narrated Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was asked, who are the best people? He replied, the people of my generation, and then those who will follow, come after them, and then those who will come after the later. After that there will come some people whose witness will precede their oaths and their oaths will go ahead of their witness. Ibrahim, a sub-narrator, said, when we were young, our elder friends used to prohibit us from taking oaths by saying, I bear witness swearing by Allah, or by Allah's covenant. Hadīth 38. Narrated Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever swears falsely in order to grab the property of a Muslim, or of his brother, Allah will be angry with him when he meets him. Allah then revealed in confirmation of the above statement, verily those who purchase a small gain at the cost of Allah's covenant and their own oaths. Surah 3, Ayah 77. Al-Ash'ath said, this verse was revealed regarding me and a companion of mine when we had a dispute about a well. Hadīth 39. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hell fire will keep on saying, are there any more people to come? Till the Lord of power and honor will put his foot over it and then it will say, cut, cut, sufficient, sufficient, by your power and honor. And its various sides will come close to each other, that is, it will contract. Hadīth 40. Narrated Az-Zuhri, I heard Urwah bin Az-Zubayr, Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, Uqamah bin Waqqas and Ubaydullah bin Abdullah narrating from Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, the story about the liars who said what they said about her and how Allah revealed her innocence afterwards. Each one of the above 4 narrators narrated to me a portion of her narration. It was said in it, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up, saying, is there anyone who can relieve me from Abdullāh bin Ubay? On that, Usayd bin Hudayr got up and said to Sa'd bin Ubadah, La amrullahi, by the eternity of Allah, we will kill him. Hadīth 41. Narrated Aisha, regarding, Allah will not call you to account for that which is unintentional in your oaths, Surah 2, Ayah 225. This verse was revealed concerning such oath formulas as, no, by Allah, and, yes, by Allah, something against his oath due to forgetfulness, should he make expiation? And the statement of Allah, and there is no blame on you if you make a mistake therein, Surah 33, Ayah 5. And Allah said, Moses said to Khidr, call me not to account for what I forgot, Surah 18, Ayah 73. Hadith 42. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah forgives my followers those evil deeds their souls may whisper or suggest to them as long as they do not act on it, or speak. Hadith 43. Narrated Abdullāh bin Amr bin al-As, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was delivering a sermon on the day of Nahr, that is, 10th Dhul-Hijjah, day of slaughtering the sacrifice, a man got up saying, I thought, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, such and such a thing was to be done before such and such a thing. Another man got up, saying, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. As regards these 3 acts of Hajj, I thought so and so. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Do, and there is no harm, concerning all those matters on that day. And so, on that day, whatever question he was asked, he said, do it, and there is no harm therein. Hadith 44. Narrated Ibn Abbas, a man said to the Prophet, while he was delivering a sermon on the day of Nahr, I have performed the tawaf round the Kaaba before the Rummi, throwing pebbles, at the Jamrah. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, There is no harm therein. Another man said, I had my head shaved before slaughtering the sacrifice. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, There is no harm. A third said, I have slaughtered the sacrifice before the Rummi, throwing pebbles at the Jamrah. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, There is no harm. Hadith 45. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a man entered the mosque and started praying while Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was sitting somewhere in the mosque. Then, after finishing the prayer, the man came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and greeted him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, Go back and pray, for you have not prayed. The man went back, and having prayed, he came and greeted the Prophet. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, after returning his greeting said, Go back and pray, for you did not pray. On the third time the man said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Teach me how to pray. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, When you get up for the prayer, perform the ablution properly and then face the Qibla and say Takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then recite of what you know of the Quran, and then bow, and remain in this state till you feel at rest in bowing, and then raise your head and stand straight, and then prostrate till you feel at rest in prostration, and then sit up till you feel at rest while sitting, and then prostrate again till you feel at rest in prostration, and then get up and stand straight, and do all this in all your prayers. Hadith 46. Narrated Aisha, when the pagans were defeated during the first stage of the Battle of Uhud, Satan shouted, O Allah's slaves! Beware of what is behind you. So the front files of the Muslims attacked their own back files. Hudayfah bin al-Yaman looked and on seeing his father, he shouted, My father! My father! By Allah! The people did not stop till they killed his father. Hudayfah then said, May Allah forgive you. Urwa, the sub-narrator, added, Hudayfah continued asking Allah's forgiveness for the killers of his father till he met Allah, till he died. Hadith 47. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If somebody eats something forgetfully while he is fasting, then he should complete his fast, for Allah has made him eat and drink. Hadith 48. Narrated Abdullāh bin Buhayna, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, led us in prayer, and after finishing the first 2 rakat, got up, instead of sitting for at-tahiyyat, and then carried on with the prayer. When he had finished his prayer, the people were waiting for him to say taslim, but before saying taslim, he said takbir and prostrated, then he raised his head, and saying takbir, he prostrated, sahu, and then raised his head and finished his prayer with taslim. Hadith 49. Narrated Ibn Mas'ud, that Allah's Prophet led them in the Zuhr prayer and he offered either more or less rakat, and it was said to him, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Has the prayer been reduced, or have you forgotten? He asked, What is that? They said, You have prayed so many rakat. So he performed with them 2 more prostrations and said, These 2 prostrations are to be performed by the person who does not know whether he has prayed more or less rakat, in which case he should seek to follow what is right. And then complete the rest of the prayer, and perform 2 extra prostrations. Hadith 50. Narrated Ubay bin Ka'b, that he heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, Moses said, Call me not to account for what I forget and be not hard upon me for my affair with you. Surah 18, Ayah 73. The first excuse of Moses was his forgetfulness. Hadith 51. Narrated Al-Barā bin Azib, that once he had a guest, so he told his family, on the day of Eid al-Adha, that they should slaughter the animal for sacrifice before he returned from the Eid prayer in order that their guest could take his meal. So his family slaughtered the animal before the prayer. Then they mentioned that event to the Prophet, who ordered Al-Barā to slaughter another sacrifice. Al-Barā said to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, I have a young milch she-goat which is better than 2 sheep for slaughtering. The sub-narrator, Ibn Awn, used to say, I don't know whether the permission to slaughter a she-goat as a sacrifice was especially given to Al-Barā or if it was in general for all the Muslims. Hadith 52. Narrated Jundub, I witnessed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offering the Eid prayer, and after finishing it, he delivered a sermon and said, Whoever has slaughtered his sacrifice before the prayer should make up for it, that is, slaughter another animal, and whoever has not slaughtered his sacrifice yet, should slaughter it by mentioning Allah's name over it. Hadith 53. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The biggest sins are, to join others in worship with Allah, to be undutiful to one's parents, to kill somebody unlawfully, and to take an oath. Al-Ghamus. Hadith 54. Narrated Abdullāh, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If somebody is ordered, by the ruler or the judge, to take an oath, and he takes a false oath in order to grab the property of a Muslim, then he will incur Allah's wrath when he will meet him. And Allah revealed in its confirmation, Verily, those who purchase a small gain at the cost of Allah's covenants and their own oaths. Surah 3, Ayah 77. The sub-narrator added, Al-Ash'ath bin Qais entered, saying, What did Abu Abdur Rahman narrate to you? They said, So and so. Al-Ash'ath said, This verse was revealed in my connection. I had a well on the land of my cousin, and we had a dispute about it. I reported him to Allah's apostle, who said to me, You should give evidence, that is, witness, otherwise the oath of your opponent will render your claim invalid. I said, Then he, my opponent, will take the oath, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Whoever is ordered, by the ruler or the judge, to give an oath, and he takes a false oath in order to grab the property of a Muslim, then he will incur Allah's wrath when he meets him on the day of resurrection. Hadith 55. Narrated Abu Musa, my companion sent me to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to ask him for some mounts. He said, By Allah, I will not mount you on anything. When I met him, he was in an angry mood, but when I met him, again, he said, Tell your companions that Allah or Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, will provide you with mounts. Hadith 56. Narrated Az-Zuhri, I heard Urwah bin Az-Zubayr, Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, Alqamah bin Waqqas and Ubaydullah bin Abdullah bin Uqbah relating from Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, the narration of the people, that is, the liars, who spread the slander against her and they said what they said, and how Allah revealed her innocence. Each of them related to me a portion of that narration. They said that Aisha said, Then Allah revealed the 10 verses starting with, Verily. those who spread the slander. Surah 24, Ayat 11-21. All these verses were in proof of my innocence. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who used to provide for Mistah some financial aid because of his relation to him, said, "By Allah, I will never give anything, in charity, to Mistah, after what he has said about Aisha." Then Allah revealed, "And let not those among you who are good and are wealthy swear not to give any sort of help to their kinsmen." Surah 24, Ayah 22. On that, Abu Bakr said, "Yes, by Allah, I like that Allah should forgive me," and then resumed giving Mistah the aid he used to give him and said, "By Allah, I will never withhold it from him." Hadith 57. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, I went along with some men from the Ash'ariyin to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and it happened that I met him while he was in an angry mood. We asked him to provide us with mounts, but he swore that he would not give us any. Later on he said, "By Allah, Allah willing, if ever I take an oath to do something, and later on I find something else better than the first, then I do the better one and give expiation for the dissolution of my oath." Hadith 58. Narrated Al-Musayyab, when the death of Abu Talib approached, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came to him and said, "Say, La ilaha illallah, there is no God worthy of worship but Allah, a word with which I will be able to defend you before Allah." Hadith 59. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The following are 2 words, sentences or utterances, that are very easy for the tongue to say, and very heavy in the balance of reward, and most beloved to the gracious Almighty. And they are, Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallahil Adim." Hadith 60. Narrated Abdullāh, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said a sentence and I said another. He said, "Whoever dies while he is setting up rivals along with Allah, that is, worshipping others along with Allah, shall be admitted into the hell fire." And I said the other, "Whoever dies while he is not setting up rivals along with Allah, that is, worshipping none except Allah, shall be admitted into paradise." Hadith 61. Narrated Anas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, took an oath for abstention from his wives, for 1 month, and during those days he had a sprain in his foot. He stayed in a mashrubah, an upper room, for 29 nights and then came down. Then the people said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. You took an oath for abstention from your wives, for 1 month. On that, he said, a lunar month can be of 29 days. Hadith 62. Narrated Abu Hazim, Sahal bin Sa'd said, Abu Usaid, the companion of the Prophet, got married, so he invited the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to his wedding party, and the bride herself served them. Sahal said to the people, "Do you know what drink she served him with?" She infused some dates in a pot at night and the next morning she served him with the infusion. Hadith 63. Narrated Sauda, the wife of the Prophet, one of our sheep died and we tanned its skin and kept on infusing dates in it till it was a worn-out water skin. Hadith 64. Narrated Aisha, the family of the Prophet Muhammad never ate wheat bread with meat for 3 consecutive days to their fill, till he met Allah. Hadith 65. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Abu Talha said to Sulaym, I heard the voice of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, rather weak, and I knew that it was because of hunger. Have you anything to present to the Prophet? She said, Yes. Then she took out a few loaves of barley bread and took a veil of hers and wrapped the bread with a part of it and sent me to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I went and found Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sitting in the mosque with some people. I stood up before him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, Has Abu Talha sent you? I said, Yes. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to those who were with him, "Get up and proceed." I went ahead of them, as their forerunner, and came to Abu Talha and informed him about it. Abu Talha said, "O Sulaym, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, has come and we have no food to feed them." Sulaym said, "Allah and his apostle know best." So Abu Talha went out, to receive them, till he met Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came in company with Abu Talha and they entered the house. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "O Sulaym, bring whatever you have." So she brought that barley, bread, and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that bread to be broken into small pieces, and then Sulaym poured over it some butter from a leather butter container, and then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said what Allah wanted him to say, that is, blessing the food. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, then said, "Admit 10 men." Abu Talha admitted them and they ate to their fill and went out. He again said, "Admit 10 men." He admitted them, and in this way all the people ate to their fill, and they were 70 or 80 men. Hadīth 66. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "The reward of deeds depend upon the intentions, and every person will get the reward according to what he has intended. So whoever emigrated for the sake of Allah and his apostle, then his emigration will be considered to be for Allah and his apostle, and whoever emigrated for the sake of worldly gain or for a woman to marry, then his emigration will be considered to be for what he emigrated for." Hadīth 67. Narrated Ka'b bin Malik, in the last part of his narration about the 3 who remained behind, from the Battle of Tabuk. I said, as a proof of my true repentance, for not joining the holy Battle of Tabuk, I shall give up all my property for the sake of Allah and his apostle, as an expiation for that sin. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, "Keep some of your wealth, for that is better for you." Hadīth 68. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to stay, for a period, in the house of Zainab bint Jahash, one of the wives of the Prophet, and he used to drink honey in her house. Hafsa and I decided that when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, entered upon either of us, she would say, "I smell in you the bad smell of magafir, a bad-smelling raisin. Have you eaten magafir?" When he entered upon one of us, she said that to him. He replied to her, "No, but I have drunk honey in the house of Zainab bint Jahash, and I will never drink it again." Then the following verse was revealed, "O Prophet, why do you ban, for you, that which Allah has made lawful for you? Up to, if you too, wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, turn in repentance to Allah." Surah 66, Ayat 1-4. The 2 were Aisha and Hafsa. And also the statement of Allah, and, remember, when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, disclosed a matter in confidence to one of his wives. Surah 66, Ayah 3, that is, his saying, "But I have drunk honey." Hisham said, it also meant his saying, "I will not drink any more, and I have taken an oath, so do not inform anybody of that." Hadīth 69. Narrated Sa'id bin al-Harith, that he heard Ibn Umar saying, "Weren't people forbidden to make vows?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A vow neither hastens nor delays anything, but by the making of vows, some of the wealth of a miser is taken out." Hadīth 70. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, forbade the making of vows and said, a vow, does not prevent anything that has to take place, but the property of a miser is spent, taken out, with it. Hadīth 71. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah says, "The vow does not bring about for the son of Adam anything I have not decreed for him, but his vow may coincide with what has been decided for him, and by this way I cause a miser to spend of his wealth. So he gives me, spends in charity, for the fulfillment of what has been decreed for him what he would not give me before but for his vow. Hadith 72. Narrated Zahdam bin Mudarrib, Imran bin Husayn said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the best of you, people, are my generation, and the second best will be those who will follow them, and then those who will follow the second generation. Imran added, I do not remember whether he mentioned 2 or 3 generations after his generation. He added, then will come some people who will make vows but will not fulfill them, and they will be dishonest and will not be trustworthy, and they will give their witness without being asked to give their witness, and fatness will appear among them. Hadith 73. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever vows that he will be obedient to Allah, should remain obedient to him, and whoever made a vow that he will disobey Allah, should not disobey him. Hadith 74. Narrated Ibn Umar said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I vowed to perform i'tikaf for one night in Al-Masjid al-Haram during the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, before embracing Islam. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, fulfill your vow. Hadith 75. Narrated Sa'd bin Ubadah al-Ansari, that he consulted the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about a vow that had been made by his mother who died without fulfilling it. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave his verdict that he should fulfill it on her behalf. The verdict became Sunnah, that is, the Prophet's tradition. Hadith 76. Narrated Ibn Abbas, a man came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and said to him, my sister vowed to perform the Hajj, but she died, before fulfilling it. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, would you not have paid her debts if she had any? The man said, yes. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, so pay Allah's rights, as he is more entitled to receive his rights. Hadith 77. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever vowed to be obedient to Allah, must be obedient to him, and whoever vowed to be disobedient to Allah, should not be disobedient to him. Hadith 78. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah is not in need of this man torturing himself, when he saw the man walking between his 2 sons, who were supporting him. Hadith 79. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw a man performing tawaf around the Kaaba, tied with a rope or something else, while another person was holding him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut that rope off. Hadith 80. Narrated Ibn Abbas, while performing the tawaf around the Kaaba, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, passed by a person leading another person by a hair rope nose ring in his nose. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut the hair rope nose ring off with his hand and ordered the man to lead him by the hand. Hadith 81. Narrated Ibn Abbas, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was delivering a sermon, he saw a man standing, so he asked about that man. They, the people, said, it is Abu Israel who has vowed that he will stand and never sit down, and he will never come in the shade, nor speak to anybody, and will fast. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, order him to speak and let him come in the shade, and make him sit down, but let him complete his fast. Hadith 82. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, that he was asked about a man who had vowed that he would fast all the days of his life, then the day of Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr came. Abdullāh bin Umar said, you have indeed a good example in Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He did not fast on the day of Eid al-Adha or the day of Eid al-Fitr, and we do not intend fasting on these 2 days. Hadith 83. Narrated Ziyad bin Jubayr, I was with Ibn Umar when a man asked him, I have vowed to fast every Tuesday or Wednesday throughout my life, and if the day of my fasting coincided with the day of Nahr, the first day of Eid al-Adha, what shall I do?" Ibn Umar said, "Allah has ordered the vows to be fulfilled, and we are forbidden to fast on the day of Nahr." The man repeated his question and Ibn Umar repeated his former answer, adding nothing more. Hadīth 84. Narrated Abu Hurairah, "We went out in the company of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, on the day of the Battle of Khaybar, and we did not get any gold or silver as war booty, but we got property in the form of things and clothes. Then a man called Rifā bin Zayd, from the tribe of Bani ad-Dubayb, presented a slave named Midam to Allah's apostle. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, headed towards the valley of Al-Qura, and when he was in the valley of Al-Qura, an arrow was thrown by an unidentified person, struck and killed Midam, who was making a she-camel of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, kneel down. The people said, Congratulations to him, the slave, for gaining paradise. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, No. By him in whose hand my soul is, for the sheet which he stole from the war booty before its distribution on the day of Khaybar, is now burning over him. When the people heard that, a man brought 1 or 2 shiraks, leather straps of shoes, to the Prophet. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, A shirak of fire, or 2 shiraks of fire.